Hey everybody, it's Michael from Replica Airguns, and today we're talking about what you should buy in terms of should you buy the KWC branded version, well, not really even branded, but distributed version, or other company distributed versions of the guns. Now, if you don't already know this, KWC is one of the main suppliers of the airgun slash airsoft, mainly pistols. They do make them mini Uzi. That's about, I think, as large as or as close as they get to a rifle or a larger size gun. But mainly they stick with pistols. They're known best for their full blowback, mostly metal guns or all metal guns, depending on what you're looking at. If you're looking at a Beretta, it's going to have metal slide, metal frame. Something like a Smith & Wesson M&P will have a polymer frame. That's what the traditional real steel gun would have. So they copy those guns really close. They have full-size dropout metal mags, typically. Full blowback action in a lot of these guns. They generally come in BB and airsoft versions. KWC is a Taiwanese company, and even though they do sell full blowback guns, they have a variety of other pistols, non-blowback pistols, revolvers, different things like that. So what we're trying to get to here is, should you buy the KWC branded version? Like I'm showing you here, all this top row is KWC, so direct from KWC, or should you go with, for instance, companies like Umarex? We got the Umarex Beretta here and the Umarex M&P. They're fully licensed. Then we have a Cybergun Taurus, so distributed through Cybergun, distributed through Umarex. Lots of companies distribute these KWC guns. Crosman, SIG, ASG, all the big name companies distribute KWC guns. So they buy from KWC, get KWC to put all the licensing that they're allowed to put on, not KWC, but the company that's distributing it for them. They have the licensing. They bought either, what it might be, Beretta, Smith & Wesson, SIG, whatever it happens to be. They put their licensing on it in the KWC factory and distribute it through companies like Umarex, again, ASG, SIG, Crosman, all the big guys. But what's most important is that all of these guns, whether you get the KWC version or the licensed version from the company, is they're literally mechanically identical, okay? Sometimes you'll find small cosmetic changes. Oftentimes there's no cosmetic changes other than just the licensing on the slide. So let's take a look here, and let's look at the Smith & Wesson here from Umarex. Right, so you do get the licensing on the slide. It looks nice if you're into Smith & Wesson and you want that. You will sometimes find this ugly writing. Umarex often puts this ugly writing on the slide, and sometimes people don't like that. They do like this maybe, but not so much that. If you buy the KWC version, right, it's just plain Jane, right? So if you want an all black gun, you don't want any writing, really noticeable writing on it, you just want it to be an all black gun, then perhaps KWC is a better option for you. If you do want the licensing though, it does sometimes come, like with these, let's get in here. It does sometimes come with, that, right? So that's not as nice. Now with the Cybergun pistols, they don't have the ugly writing on them, so that's maybe a bit better, right? So we just have the 24/7. It's just kind of etched into it. It's not embossed or like right in the slide or anything. They just basically kind of painted on there, right? But you will get, for instance, different markings on the gun, KWC versus the Taurus, right in the grips there. Same thing is true with the KWC, right? We got KWC, and we have the Smith & Wesson logo, and then of course you've got your Beretta, then you got your Beretta versus KWC, right? So there's little things like that, but then again, you can see here, you got that writing on the slide on the Umarex version. Umarex just kind of does that. I don't know why. Maybe they could make it a little bit lighter, or maybe put it underneath. I don't know. They do it with the single action armies, but they don't do it with these guys, okay? So really they're the same gun. I mean, you could take like magazines out, swap them back and forth. If it's the same version, you can take slides off, replace them. You can mix and match all the different parts if you want. They're literally the same gun. So there's basically the licensing and that writing on the slide. Some people don't want it. So if you're not a big fan of the writing, go with the KWC version. There's also price. Sometimes the KWC version is more money, even though there's no licensing and it's more direct. It's not going through a distributor. But in fact, it's a supply and demand issue. If KWC, it's harder to get that version. It might cost more. Sometimes the KWC version might be less money. It really just depends where and when you buy it. So sometimes the redistributed guns like the Umarex, the Crossman, the SIG, the ASG, even Gletcher, you're going to find that those guns might be a little bit cheaper than the actual KWC version. So if price is a big issue or one of the deciding factors, then take a look at the different options. So for instance, I don't have a 1911 out here. We've seen all the KWC 1911s, but you can get KWC 1911s from literally everybody. Everybody has a version. There's a Remington version, there's a SIG version, there's a Crossman version. Umarex for sure is redistributing KWC 1911. So take a look at all the different versions out there, and if you like one cosmetic change over another, factor in price, then that's really how you're going to determine which one you're going to buy. Of course, availability, which one's in stock as well. So hopefully that helps you understand some of the differences between the KWC version versus the redistributed other name brand versions of these same guns. All right, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We do have pretty much all of this stuff in our Replica Airgun store over at replicairguns.ca and replicairguns.us. We have the KWC Airsoft and BB versions along with other company versions of those same guns. All right, until next time, take care.